Good afternoon, everyone. This is Deanna Flahart, and I am here to present my Session 3 interview with Al Hoke. Healthcare reform is the most part a governmental policy that affects healthcare delivery in a given place. Healthcare reform broadens the amount of people that receive healthcare coverage. It expands the choice of healthcare providers consumers can choose from. It also improves the access to healthcare specialists and the quality of healthcare that is received by decreasing the cost of healthcare overall. Employee law is the collection of laws and rules that regulate relationships between employers and employees. Employment law dictates when an employer can hire employees and when the employees can work. It also covers what the employer must pay the employer for their work. Employment laws create minimum requirements for working conditions for the employee. For my interview, I had the pleasure of speaking with Al Hoke, the Director of Cardiopulmonary Services, Respiratory Care, Neurodiagnostics, and Cardiology with HCA Houston Healthcare in Kingwood. During our interview, my first question was based on employment law having to do with employee rights around Family Medical Leave Act, or FMLA as it is more commonly known. The first question is, can a manager move an employee to a different shift because they have asked for intermittent FMLA to take a parent to chemotherapy appointments because it is inconveniencing the manager's staffing needs? His answer was no. Under FMLA, any appearance of retaliation is illegal. I found out by looking at the Department of Labor website. According to the Department of Labor, the Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA, provides certain employees up to 12 weeks of unpaid job protective leave per year. It also requires their group health benefits be maintained during the leave. FMLA is designed to help employees balance their work and family responsibilities by allowing them to take reasonable unpaid leave for certain family and medical reasons. My second question for Mr. Hoke also has to do with employment law dealing with sexual harassment. John and Jack are having lunch in the break room. Mary Jane is also present in the break room while John and Jack. It is well known throughout the department that John and Jack have a tendency to tell jokes which are at times sexual in nature. Mary Jane finds this offensive and takes this concern to her manager. Is this considered sexual harassment? No, while appearing that the joke are sexual in nature, but not specifically aimed to Mary Jane, and the fact that Mary Jane has been in the lunchroom before, and this is the first time that she has brought it up, Mary Jane's manager has to take the matter to HR for them to investigate. Although this is not considered sexual harassment, it could be determined as inappropriate workplace conduct, which is why the HR department or a third party would do the investigation and not the manager. Sexual harassment is a form of sexual discrimination that violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Title VII applies to employers with 15 or more employees, including state and local government. It also applies to employment agencies and the labor organizations, as well as to federal government. Sexual harassment is defined as any unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature constitutes sexual harassment when this conduct explicitly or implicitly affects an individual's employment unreasonably interferes with an individual's work performance or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Sexual harassment is not limited to male and female. It can be any combination of male and female, female and female, and also male and male. The final question I had for Mr. Hope also refers to employment law in reference to drug testing. The CNO, Chief Nursing Officer, is determined to drug test all the nurses on a specific night shift due to a variance in the narcotics amount at the end of the shift. Can the CNO legally do this? No, you cannot batch test a whole group because you must provide just cause in order to perform a drug test. According to an article in Workplace Fairness, it is everyone's job. Many employers require their employees to submit to drug testing both before and after being hired. Most of the time, after being hired, an employer requires reasonable suspicion before having an employee take a drug test. Even with the recent legalization of marijuana in some states, employees in those states can still be punished for testing positive. This punishment for a failed drug test can include rehabilitation, termination, and losing unemployment benefits. What I learned. When you have an employee that requires FMLA, be sure to partner with your HR team to ensure that you are providing the employee's needs. Document all missed work for the employee on FMLA to monitor the 12-week limit. When there is a possibility of sexual harassment, partner with your HR team to investigate the situation appropriately to ensure that all information stays confidential and that the investigation is done without bias. By limiting the number of people who have access to narcotics within an organization could decrease the need to test all employees in a situation of missing narcotics. Here is a list of references that I use to provide extra content within my interview process with Mr. Al Hoke. Thank you for your time this evening, and y'all have a great evening. Bye-bye.